Hello everyone, I'm Denis, CEO of Unfrozen, and I'm glad to announce today that our team has begun collaborating with one of the most popular map makers in the Heroes community, Francois, also known as Papyjama. He is best known as the creator of Mysterious Island, currently one of the most popular custom maps for Heroes of Might and Magic 3. It's safe to say that Mysterious Island has become a true classic among Heroes fans. Today, we are especially excited to share that Papyjama will be creating brand new version of Mysterious Island, specially for Olden Era. Francois kindly agreed to have a conversation with me and our narrative lead, Katharina, to discuss his mapmaking journey and his plans for Olden Era. So, meet Papyjama.
Hello, Denis. Hello, everyone. Hi, I'm really happy to be here. First of all, I hope my terrible accent won't scare everyone away. I'm French. Nobody's perfect. My name is François, also known as Papyjama online. I'm 39 years old and I work as a project manager in IT and now as a level designer for Olden Era. I'm the dad of a 5 years old boy, and actually is a part of the reason my maps have a co-op mode. When he was born, I was thinking one day I want to play Heroes with him, so I made sure a map could be played together. My passion are storytelling, Lego, travels, medieval history, video games, and of course the Heroes of Might and Magic series.
Oh, that's cool. Okay, interesting. So you also do the Legos.
Yeah, yeah.
Cool. So, but that's basically kind of similar thing as making the maps. You just construct something.
Yeah.
Okay, so you already mentioned it a bit, but maybe you could tell us in a bit more details. How was your journey through the Heroes of Might and Magic games so far, and just how did it all begin?
Oh, sure. It was around 1998. I was 12 in middle school. I was at a friend's house to work on a school project. I don't remember what the project was about, but I clearly remember the room and the old computer because that's where he showed me Heroes 2 for the first time. And it was love at first sight. The visuals, the music, it was incredible. Then Heroes 3 was announced, and I remember spending a whole weekend using my family's phone line to download the demo with a 56K modem. For younger people watching, back then you had to choose between using the phone or using the internet. and
Expensive.
yeah, I burn all the hours of the month for just for the Heroes 3 demo. And the demo showed me the underground and the dungeon faction, and I loved it straight away. Of course, I bought the game as soon as it came out, and I have great memories of playing very light at night with my dad, much to my mom's despair. And yes, I'm planning to do the same thing with my son one day.
That's great.
So, what made you want to become a map creator for Heroes?
I'm always loved reading and imagining telling stories. As a kid, I used to make up stories with my Lego bricks when I was alone, or tell stories for my brother, my sister, my cousins. I always loved that. I think it's the building side of Lego that moved me into map making. The map editor is like having unlimited Lego bricks. It's crazy. And I also remember hiking in the mountain or traveling and looking at the landscape and thinking, that would make a great heroes map.
Interesting. And so the most popular map that you created is, for those who don't know, is called the Mysterious Island. So could
Yeah.
you tell us what is the history or the main inspiration behind it?
Yes, sure. This map is based on the Jules Verne novel with the same name, The Mysterious Island. I first read it around 1995, if I remember, so more than 30 years ago now. And I was totally fascinated by the story, but especially the map of the island. Every reader knows it right away. And when I found Heroes 2 in 1998, I wanted to recreate it in the game. I even found an old drawing I made by then. But very quickly, I was drawing the outline of the island into Heroes 2 map editor, and I saw that the extra large size was way too small. The shape looked terrible, so I just put the idea aside.
So the
Until
extra large was too small.
yeah, it's two peaks. Yeah, it's not very not good. So I waited and until 2020. I already knew Horn of the Abyss, and that dream had never really left me recreate this island. The trigger was I was playing 3 or 4 custom HOTA map in a row, and they all had the same pattern: a hard start, then you hit a point, and you just roll over the rest of the map. So I thought, okay, the giant size exists in OTA. I'm going to recreate the Mysterious Island and find a way to keep the challenge going all the way to the end. So the map use
So do you understand? Just to be sure
yeah,
I understand it correctly. So
yeah.
you wanted to slightly make it like different from most of how the way that most of Hotel games played. So you wanted it to
Yes.
be challenged until the very end.
Yes, and with a twist, and it just not boosting AI artificially with tons of creature, or I wanted to create something more subtle than just a heavy boost of creature increase.
Okay, interesting. And we know that like the map became very popular within the community. How do you think like what made the Mysterious Island, apart from what you just said, what made the Mysterious Island to stand out compared to the other maps?
Very good question. I have read a lot of feedback, so um, I can tell you some what player enjoys the most according to Maps for Hero website comment. The first thing is the replayability. Some players have played the map more than 7 times in a row. So I designed 6 such starting zones, each with 2 possible factions. So 12 combination total in with the new Bulwark faction added this year. And also the accessibility. The map is not only for veteran player. I used the difficulty-based event, so the map works for complete beginner, but also for someone who has played Heroes for 25 years. Everyone is welcome on board.
That's cool. That's really interesting.
Um, some player like also the aesthetic. The player loves the level of details in the scenery. I'm also a professional photographer, which probably helps.
That explains a lot.
Yeah. We talk about it, the non-linear progression. I really wanted to break the classic steamroll pattern. I added some twist. Think of Game of Thrones, the end of Ned Stark, of the Red Wedding. Everything seems fine, and bam! But I don't want to spoil the map.
Those who haven't watched or read it yet, we're not gonna spoil
Sorry.
it. I mean, yeah, you probably have everyone seen by now who wanted. Okay,
Yeah.
thank you. That's
So you like kill main characters, I guess.
Yeah.
just spoil it to the whole internet.
Let's talk a bit about map editor. So, can you
Yeah.
tell us more about some of the features you use the most within map editors?
The most I used is events. I actually hit the HOTA limits of 500 events on the map. I I don't count the timed event. I use them for several things. Message to guide the player. There are a lot of message. The lore, and sometimes just to troll the player. I love playing tricks on the player. And I also use events to boost the computer, but not giving it more creature. On higher difficulty, I boost the primary stats of computer hero at key moments. So the challenge come from stronger heroes, not bigger armies, artificial bigger armies.
So instead of
Okay.
boosting the armies, you boost the heroes themselves.
Yeah, exactly.
So, what do you find to be the most and the least enjoyable part of designing a map for heroes?
What I enjoy the most is creating the terrain, the path, the point of interest, the scenery in general. Some people do coloring to relax. For me, it's a bit like that, or like Lego with unlimited bricks. I love mixing decoration that don't normally go together. For example, undead terrain objects combined with snow objects. You will see that. You can see that on HOTA map and future Olden Era map. And I also love inventing new game mechanics using what the editor offers, and mechanics you will never see in random maps. And what I enjoy the less, but it's necessary, is balancing the resource spot and the interactions point. The map is not symmetrical in shape, but
So the maths part, the doing the maths.
yeah, the map is not symmetrical in shape, but the zone must be balanced. And what I enjoy the least is the testing part. To have a good map, you have to test, correct, and test again. And I'm not a very good player, especially in combat. I'm almost unable to beat my own map on HOTA at maximum difficulty. uh, but I still want to give a real challenge for the best players. Luckily, the community helped me a lot with testing. I can never thank them enough for all the testing of the community. And
That's true.
yeah.
That testing your own stuff is like sometimes can be really difficult.
Yeah. And the best the best reward after making a map and testing, etc., is the best reward of all is watching other player play the map via their comment, or even better on YouTube or Twitch. It's hard to explain how amazing it feels to watch player on live, exploring a world you created, seeing them fall into my jokes or in my traps. I have an example in mind. Watching Lexiav having to go on Google in the middle of a stream to translate a Morse code message during the pirate treasure hunt. That was a great streaming moment. And
I mean, I see what you mean. It's like I don't watch much of the stream, neither Twitch nor YouTube. But I watch like a few, like literally a few, maybe like two streamers. And yeah, it's really a special feeling to watch people enjoy something that you created.
If you permit it, I want to take this chance to thank all the content creators who took the time to play my map. So in order, I want to thank Pixo,
FR qui s'appelle François Papyjama.
Moucheron qui pète, John Cut.
Aujourd'hui, du coup, on se retrouve pour tester la map de Papyjama.
Winnie Marubaba.
Sur la map de Papyjama qu'il a créé pendant des années.
Lexiav.
This map was made by Papyjama.
Lord Cameron.
All right, hello and welcome back to Here's My Magic, the Mysterious Island.
Le J, Mitchav.
Une map de Papyjama ici dans le chat.
Eros 3 Guy.
Is part 1 to the co-op playthrough of The Mysterious Island.
Wasilix.
Hello everyone and welcome to the part 2 playthrough of The Mysterious Island.
And Absolute Zero.
Mysterious Island.
So thank you so much to all of them.
Thank you guys. Yeah, someone that's very important. Like in the end, if you don't have anyone playing what you create, like it has no value in the end. But speaking about the features of map editors that you've mentioned, like your favorite and least favorite, but speaking about like the features of the map editors themselves, is there anything after trying all the editors, like the editor of Hota or of Heroes 3 in general, is there anything you would like to see improved upon in the Olden Era's editor that may not have been possible before in previous editors for whatever reasons?
Olden Era editor is still in beta, but I think it has a great potential. One thing, sorry, that could be better is interface, but I totally understand it is not the priority right now. Just for example, it will be great to see directly in the editor what variable 1, 2, or 3 means for a 1 mile custom resource. It's just an example, but that's a small detail. I'm sure it will come later.
The question is more like something that wasn't there before, for example, in Heroes 3. And since we are creating a new editor and we have a chance to add stuff that maybe someone like just, it wasn't there because nobody asked for it, or it wasn't there because like it was not possible technically, but now it is. That's more these kind of things I'm asking.
Okay. A totally new feature.
Yeah, for example, something new that you, or simplifying something that you could make, but it was more difficult, and now technically it is possible to make it easier.
Yeah, if you imagine ideal editor for heroes, let's say.
Yeah, like a perfect editor for heroes.
Perfect for heroes. How can you describe it and what features are definitely missing in the previous installments?
Yeah, I see what you're telling about. For example, I have to spoil a bit, but in the Mysterious Island, I have to imagine very complicated ways to for the player trigger an enemy invasion. And I think Olden Era is now capable of this, but in Heroes 3 and maybe other heroes in the series, it's very you can put timed event who liberates, for example, enemy heroes, or if you kill an enemy heroes, another came, but the fact that the player triggers something it was very complicated to create. So I think an improvement. I think Olden Era may capable of this is to not just time based event, but the player do an action and there are consequences.
The player triggering basically whatever events by their own action.
Yeah.
I see.
Okay, let's come back a bit. We already started to talk about Olden Era, and it would be really great if you will describe and tell us about your thoughts about Olden Era overall after playing the game. What do you think about it? Big question, yeah.
Yeah, and very important question. I spent many hours on the demo, plus few hours on the game before early access to understand the custom scenario mechanics. And congratulations to the map makers. It's the scenario. It's really well done. I will be honest, this is what I already said on Discord, Reddit, and Facebook. At the first, I was quite skeptical just for the early images of Olden Era. Then I tried the demo, and after a few hours, I was very pleasantly surprised. You can clearly feel that you and Frozen team played Heroes 3 including HOTA. Just look at the random map templates, but there are many other details that come from HOTA. Graphically, some people say it looks like a mobile game. I totally disagree.
Oh,
I
it's a
think
forbidden word.
yeah, but I think that's too harsh. I'm not agree with that. And there are different color modes in the option, but you have actually to go in the option and try them. But I think people who who say it's like a mobile game don't do the effort to go into the option and try the color mode. The music also is very important in Heroes, and I really like several tracks. The menu, the combat, and the dungeon theme especially.
What is your
And
favorite music?
The dungeon. Yeah. A fun fact: when I work on the future map for Olden Era, I put Olden Era soundtrack in background to to be
To immerse.
yeah. Thank you.
Okay. Yeah.
That's it. And I also like the new thing Olden Era brings to Heroes of Might and Magic. For example, the new law system is great. You build up each day on after combat to unlock faction bonus. It's a very good idea, I think. As the spell system was a bit messy in the demo, but you are changing it for early access, so that's good. And few more things I really like that the creature specialist heroes are actually useful in Olden Era. More hit point, the classic plus stat every few level, and the fact the creature specialist became viable. That's exactly what I wanted to do in my HOTA map with special zones for tier 4 to tier 6 specialist heroes. In Olden Era demo, I spent a lot of time to play the Minotaur specialist with the dungeon. It was really fun and powerful. The idea also of the alchemical powder system is, in my opinion, a genius idea. Some people hate it, but I love it. You cannot upgrade everything. You have to choose. And that's great for replayability. You can start a game, focus on Minotaurs, for example, upgrade it with the powder, and another game you choose a different creature. So I think it's very good for replayability.
Actually, some people say that now creature specialists are too strong.
Yeah, but it's an early access, so you can balance things after. So no, it's not really a problem. And
It's also, as we say, when different people say that different things are too strong, it means that they're
yeah.
balanced, and that's kind of the case.
Yeah, and what will reassure me is the way you take player feedback seriously. You haven't made the battlefield bigger because player found it too small. You really feel the will to listen and do the thing right. And well, yeah. So to finish this question, at first I expected nothing special, and I was careful. But after playing the demo and seeing how you communicate and improve, I was so enthusiastic that I even applied for your level designer job.
Okay, it's really great. I will rephrase the next question a bit, if you don't mind. So we're really happy to have you on board, and
Yeah.
we're definitely happy that you applied and agreed to make the next mysterious island for Olden Era, which is quite great news. Quite great news. So, now, can you tell us a bit more about the plans for Mysterious Islands and just describe
Yeah.
your plans about it and describe how this map will look like?
Yeah, sure. After applying for the level designer position, donc I had several talks with you, and we agreed on first paid collaboration to create the foundation, the foundation of the Mysterious Island. Let's call it Part 1. Given the size of the map and the features that don't exist yet, no underground, no ocean, I decided to split the project into several parts. So the part 1 will be the main island with 6 starting factions. There won't be any twist for now in this part. Sorry, so to people expecting pirate or underground exploration, you will have to wait. But the general idea to create the mysterious island for Olden Era is absolutely not to copy past the HOTA version. It's a new version, and I want to do something different, but keeping the same spirit. So I want to maintain the reward system when you capture the heart of an enemy territory. Um, Also, I trying to recreate my alternative teleporter system. And yes, for the player who knows, you still have to go behind the mansion. Sorry. And in agreement with you and Frozen, I put much more of the game's lore into this new version. The sixth faction will feel even more different to play, each with their own story. And sorry, and if I have time, each faction will have its own Easter eggs too. So every new run really feels different. In short, I want to push the lore and the replayability of this map even further than the HOTA version.
We already spoiled a bit that let's say Frozen have some plans for underground and um,
Yeah.
for ships. But it's a plan for the future because it's big features. We will see how
Yeah.
go, but we will definitely didn't want to postpone the development of Mysterious Island because audience obviously wanted. So as you said, we decided to split it into several parts. So first part will be mostly let's say ground one. And later we will introduce additional features in the version 2.0 or something like that.
Yes, it's exactly that. Yeah.
And more on the like back to the editor side, let's say. So you already mentioned some things, and as you said, and we mentioned that the editor is still in work in progress. But since you have already worked with it, with the Olden Era's map editor, what are your general thoughts about it?
The basic things are really easy to understand. Finding trees, mountain, interactive objects, it's very simple. And it's really enjoyable for the scenery part, truly. There are also 2D view option, a top-down view, which helps a lot because working in 3 dimension can sometimes be tricky. So switching to 2 dimension is very great. For custom creature tier types or resources, you need to check an external documentation for now. It's a bit more work, but not a big problem. The part might scare some map makers is the event and scripted system. It use external JSON file, but I want to reassure future map makers. I'm not a developer at all. Coding was never my thing, and yet I jump in. So today we have tools that help us even with this coding knowledge. And you can also look at the existing scenarios to understand how it works. And I plan to add a lot of comments in the Mysterious Islands JSON file to help other map makers learn from what I've done. It's a bit more work than classic HOTA events, but the power behind it is amazing. And I have a good news. The dialogues are in separate files, so doing versions in multiple language will be much easier.
What's your favorite features in Olden Era map editor at the moment?
At the moment, it's it's simple. It's you can play with the height, the altitude of objects. So I have fun to place a mountain, then tree, and put the tree on top of the mountain, for example.
We actually have been just looking at it today, and we're like, was it planned or is it by accident?
Yeah, also another example with this, I recreate a huge volcano using the height function of the element, putting mountain into mountain and a fire lake on top of that, and it's wow, it's very big.
It looks really cool, yeah.
Yeah.
So you would say like that it's the visuals that makes it very enjoyable
Yes,
for you.
it's 3 dimension, but you can have fun with the third dimension. Really, it's not too exaggerated. The base of the map is it's a plus. A bonus is the height dimension. I think.
And are there any features you would like to see added in the future when it comes to editors or possible within a map?
Yeah, there is one feature I'd love to see. A way to filter which player or which hero can pass through a gate or somewhere. Let me explain. Right now, it's possible to reproduce a K-Master plus Guard combo from Heroes 3 in a different way. The player visits a location or kills something, and you remove a decoration object that blocking a path. And everyone can pass. But right now, it's not possible to have the equivalent of gates. And players who have played the Mysterious Island on HOTA know I love those. So a gate filters one who can pass. For example, if player 1 has done the condition, they can pass. But the other player cannot until they also complete the condition. So today, you can open a path for all players, all heroes, at the same time. But you cannot filter some player or some heroes and not others. And that will be amazing to have. But there are already very powerful things you can do right now. You can make a creature appear on the map after launching it. You can make decoration objects appear or disappear. I will let you imagine the potential of this.
But I have a feeling you can do similar things, but I'm not. Yeah, we have a feeling something that you could set up. Like, what are you talking about? But yeah, so you mean that like having the back like the classic gatekeepers would be a great addition.
Yeah, or the garrison who authorize the player. The owner of the garrison to pass and block the other. You cannot for now reproduce that in Olden Era, but it's I adapt. No problem.
It's okay, but it's still always good to know that there is always a way for improvement. So. And so yeah, thank you very much for your like such detailed answers about the Olden Era and its editor. But more of a general question, like based on your experience so far, and you, as you said, you've been creating maps for many years. Do you have any specific advice for the beginner creators that would like to bring their own maps into the game, but they don't know where to start?
Yeah, very good question. First, don't do what I did. Don't start with a giant map. Unless you have a very clear idea and a really good reason to start with a giant map, it's much better to start with a medium or large size map, not small. A small map might block you. You could run out of space. So it's better to start with medium or large and add mountains around the edge if needed, but avoid extra large or giant map at the start, just to avoid feeling discouraged. Learning the editor with a reasonable size is, in my opinion, the best way to start without burning out. Next, if possible, think of a basic story, even if you change it later. Same for the zones. If you are not sure, try to recreate something you like from a book, like me, or from a game, or even from a real life. And finally, don't be afraid to ask the community for help with the testing part. Obviously, your beta version needs to be at a decent state first. So yes, you have to do the first test yourself to fix the main bugs. But after having the others test, it's super important to polish your map.
Okay, yeah, that's a great piece of advice. Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much for joining us and for this awesome interview and for your great talent. I definitely believe and definitely hope that the future map will be awesome and our cooperation for the future will continue.
Yeah, the map is already like so much. I mean, from what I've seen, from what I've sneak peek, it's really beautiful. It's like really impressive.
Thank you very much. Thank you so much. I'm also really happy to have joined the team and to be part of this amazing adventure. And thank you to the whole incredible Heroes of Might and Magic community. This game is really immortal.
So yeah, so thank you very much for all your creations, and maybe like during your journey, is there like some specific part of the community that you would like say hi to, or yeah, whatever you wish?
Yeah, I really want to thank the whole community of Heroes of Might and Magic. When I started this project, the Hota map, I never expecting this. So I really want to thank all the players, the community, and the content creator also, who took the time to play my map. So in order, I want to thank Pixo, Moucheron Kipet, John Cut, Winnie Marubaba, Lexiav, Lord Cameron, Logi, Mitchav, Heroes 3 Guy, Wasilix, he made a 46 speedrun on the map. That's crazy. And also Absolute Zero, who play currently the map. So thank you so much to all of them and all the incredible Heroes 3 community. Thank you.
Thank you so much, guys. Thank you.
Thank you very much. And
Thank you.
everyone, have a nice day.